Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. I don't really want to talk about the election and the results of the election, but it is kind of like the biggest thing that is happening right now in this country and in the world, I guess you could say. So, I would be doing a little bit of a disservice if I didn't say like at least one thing about the election. And obviously, the results are pretty much in. Donald Trump is the president-elect of the United States. Honestly, kind of shocking, but also not really that shocking. I think that with him winning again and seeing him do his speeches again is honestly like, obviously we've seen it before, right? 8 years ago when he won was one thing, and now 8 years later, the same thing. It's wild because, I feel like so much time has passed between those elections. And it feels like the same thing over and over again. Like the story hasn't really changed. He's going up in the 2016 election, wins that, going up in the 2020, loses that, returning in 2024, and then wins again. It's like it almost kind of like makes you think like how like perspectives and what people want, I guess, and how it shaped up to make that ultimate decision to get him elected again. Was the country really as bad as everyone says? I don't know. I guess for some people it could be. I will say this. This guy is all about, lowering inflation, lowering gas prices, and all that. I'm going to hold him to his word on that. Like, I do want to see those prices of gas and food go down. I really do. I took a picture of the gas that I get before he was reelected president. And before he was reelected, the gas that I get here in California is $4.39 a gallon. Now, if you pay with card, it's a 10-cent addition, so it'd be $4.49 a gallon at the gas station I go to in California. So I'm expecting the gas to plummet if this dude is really all about oil and all that. Or using gasoline. So I do expect to see that happen. Probably not going to happen anytime soon, but nonetheless, it should be happening, right? If this is his entire thing, is lowering prices and reducing the inflation, it should happen very quickly. So I'm actually kind of excited about that aspect. The fact that if what he says is true, what he's going to do is, as he's promised, that everything should be going down in price. Which, hey, I think, as somebody who values their money, values their time, values their work, and also values the time that they could use to spend their money on things that bring them enjoyment, like vacations, weekends, little outings, stuff like that. And I think that it would all benefit us if we actually saw the decrease in prices and see, how that actually goes. I think that would honestly make life a lot easier. If all that stuff that he was saying comes true. And I've said this with all the presidents that have been elected, whether I agree or disagree with them, or whether I voted for them or not. Like, I hope that they do the best job that they can for the country. they could be two different, the opposite parties, right? Like the Democratic Party, Republican Party, whatever it may be. I just want to see them do a good job for the people of the country. You know, like I said that with Biden, said that with Trump before, said that with Trump now, Barack Obama. I just hope that they do well. You know, I think that that's also like a pretty universal thing to think, and that's like maybe I would say the right thing to think. I mean, you don't want to wish like, man, I hope he does terrible. Man, I hope he, gets impeached. Man, I hope he, something happens, or maybe I hope he gets replaced. I don't want to, think about that. I don't want to project that type of dialogue into the zeitgeist. Like, hey, I didn't vote for him, so I want the country to plummet. That way, people will know and people will make the right choice next time. That, to me, is kind of a vile and revenge type thing to say, which I'll be honest. The revenge thing is cool in movies and TV shows. It's fun to play out. It's fun to watch revenge take place. Because you're rooting for the guy who wants the revenge, right? Yeah, I mean, that's the entire part of the story, is to watch the guy who's out for revenge. That's entertaining, right? And Django Unchained, he's killing so many people who are, rightfully deserve to be killed because they're bad people. They're all, in that movie, he is a good guy. And he's, in this case, getting the good revenge. Because these guys, he's hunting for bounties are bad people. So that's cool to watch. In real life, though, it ain't always that cut and dry. It ain't always that simple. So, like, someone being, like, very revengeful or vengeful about, like, oh, my guy lost. Dang, I want Trump. I want the opponent who actually won, who I don't like, I want them to do bad for the country. That way, people can see how bad of a choice that they made, that my choice was the right choice, and people need to know that, hey, I was right, you were wrong. Now we're paying the consequences. I just feel like that type of mentality is not something that should be exercised in real life things, with the election being one of them. I hope he does good. I really do. I think that, hopefully, things will be better price-wise, let's be honest. I mean, that's kind of, it's a lot of money that, groceries and stuff is a lot. It's a ton of money. And I know, like, I live in California, so, like, I can only imagine the price of gas right now in other states being a lot cheaper, right, than what I pay. I mean, I want some of that. I do. I really, really, really do. Of course, like, the gas price fluctuates so many times throughout the year, different months, different prices. I've never once seen the gas prices go below $4 under the previous administration, under Biden's rule. Never once seen it go under $4. If Donald Trump gets it to 3 something, then I'd be like, oh my God. I am seeing his, processes and policies taken to fruition and be implemented so where it is benefiting my life, which would be badass, right? I mean, that'd be sick if I didn't have to pay that much for gas. It'd be awesome. And I don't drive like a giant like car, like a big truck that uses a ton of gas. But still, you're paying for it and you're like, where did all my money go? Like, why is it all gone? I didn't even, it's crazy, And then you look at, I was buying a gallon of juice at the store, and I've noticed the price of those juices have gone up, like, year by year, the past, like, 2 years. And I'm like, damn, like, before they were like close to like $4, like even $4, and now they're like pushing like about to be $5. You're like, what the hell? What's going on? Every cent, adds up. It all adds up. And the more groceries you buy, the bigger that bill is. And sometimes you can even say that, you need to buy a few groceries and you actually end up spending more money than you think. And then you're like, whoa, what happened here? How did this, come up to be this much? It's actually insane when you think about it, how high the prices will get and how quickly it all accumulates. And then you're like, whoa, this is not what I intended to buy on, but I have to buy it because I have to live. I got to survive. I need bread. I need meat. I need my vegetables. I need some rice. I need water. Um, even though when you look at it, right, it isn't that bad, but it could be better. It could be a lot better. We could be actually, in a better place financially for ourselves. Let's be honest. A lot of times when people are down in the dumps, when people are not, fully happy, usually it's because of their job, sure, because of financial reasons. That could be like the main thing. Relationships possibly. But why is that? Usually financial. Because, as free as we are in this country, we can't just live for free. We can't just have our own plot of land and just stay there and have no one try to take it from us. No, we have to pay for it. We have house payments, electrical, water, internet. Hell, you got to pay for everything. And if we can get that reduced, just a good amount, and give us a little bit more, money in our pockets, then we'll feel happier than we did before, and potentially spending more. I think that because prices are so high in stuff like food and all that it really makes us more careful with our money and what we choose to spend it on, and why you can kind of see like reports of like companies who rely on customer service and customers to spend money on, that those companies show declines in like their quarter earnings. You might ask why. Well, because if it's non-essential, we're probably not going to spend it because we need to spend it on our own essentials to keep ourselves alive. Because everything is more expensive, we have to think twice about what we can afford and what we can't afford. So, that, automatically makes us like a little bit more restrained on what we can spend our money on versus what we want to spend our money on. What we need to, and then what we want to. I think if they lower the prices on this stuff like gas and food, we'll have more extra cash to spend on things that we want, therefore improving the economy in that way. But I'm no economist. I'm just basing this on myself. If I am cool with my, my essentials like food and water and gas and the bills, if I'm cool, got some extra cash, I'm going to spend more on things that I want, like books, movies, entertainment, restaurants, going out more, having the luxury to actually go out and not break the bank, not really put a deficit on my accounts, it would actually, in my eyes, and like I said, I'm no economist, but it would kind of make the economy boom, right? It should. People need to spend money to make money. People need to spend money in this country to make it flourish. That has to happen. It is like the blueprint of earning money in this country is to spend it. It's a weird thing to think about, because I've only lived in the United States my entire life, and my entire life is full of, even to this day, and even when I was a kid, has been full of like opportunities and things that are put in your face to spend more and more money on, you know? Like an example. Here's an example. Now, when we watch YouTube, when we fire up YouTube, let's say you don't have YouTube Premium, right? You don't have it at all. About like 99% of the videos that you click on YouTube will open up not with the video, but with an advertisement for something that you might want or something that you don't even know what it is and have no interest in buying. But then again, 99% of these videos open up with ads. And you're thinking to yourself, like, why is this? How come this happens? Why do I need to see this? Why do commercials exist? Why are there movie trailers before the movie? Why are there advertisements before the movie trailers when I go to the movie theaters? Why are there advertisements when I fire up my Xbox on my home screen? Tiles just sponsoring games that I will never want or need or heard of. Why do I open up the Weather Channel app and it's nothing, the app installed on your phone, and why is it full of advertisements? Why is that? Because technically YouTube is, you don't need an account, you don't need to spend money to use it. But the way that they pay for YouTube is through advertisements and advertisers that hopefully will get people to buy their product, and then YouTube will get a share of that. And banking on how many people in the world use YouTube and these apps daily, that they can get a small percentage of that, of those people who use YouTube to actually buy or spend money on said advertisers, and hopefully, earn some kind of profit to keep their business, their platform alive, or at least on, you know what I'm saying? But even back then, I remember when I was a kid, and I had my favorite movies on VHS. They had ads for other movies, things that you could buy, video games, toys, on every VHS. And you would have to rewind through it just to get to the movie. Like that was, you straight up did not own, fully like have the movie, and just the movie. You had the advertisements before the movie. Now, when you actually buy a Blu-ray disc, and I still buy Blu-rays, it is just a movie right now, which is good. That's very good. I don't know what happened or what passed or something, because I would imagine, like, even today, like, they would put just nothing but commercials and trailers and advertisements in front of these Blu-ray movies, even more than what they did back then with the VHS tapes. And I think I'm pretty sure they used to actually do that with old school DVDs. I remember, I think it was The Shaggy Dog, the movie. I own it on DVD. Used to watch it a bunch. That it would have ads before the movie on DVD that you could not skip. I remember that. You couldn't rewind. You couldn't hit menu. It would just give you like that little red circle with the slash in it. Whatever it's called, like the no or the you can't enter, whatever. I don't know what the proper name for the symbol is, but it would just show that whenever you would try to skip it, that you could not do that. That was like forbidden. You just could not skip the ads. Which, you think about it now, it's almost like that's routine. That happens now. Like, you cannot skip ads. And back then, it was a strange thing. It was a harsh reality. Like, it was like the first time where you were like, actually, like, the thing that you bought. And I didn't think of this now. I just thought it was something that you just couldn't do. But you straight up could not get past the advertisements before you watched the movie that you bought in your own home. Wild. right? I mean, Hulu is one of the worst uh, platforms of all time when it comes to that ads and stuff like that, because all these movies that they have on there, if you don't get the most expensive plan, you still get ads. I mean, it's just like, whoa, what is going on? Now I think I have like the most expensive plan when it comes to Netflix, and I've noticed that I haven't gotten like, I don't get any ads on that one. I mean, I don't use it a whole lot, but I remember that they were supposed to start implementing ads into Netflix, and I never really saw those ads in practice. So maybe it's coming. I don't know, but I think that um, when it comes to like all these businesses and how they actually pay for their stuff, um, it's all through advertisers and advertisements, and it was never free in the first place. We all just had that illusion that it was. I mean, hell, even like social media, right? It's all full of ads. Full of ads. It's technically air quotes free, but not really. Because they just can't keep that service on. They have to keep working on it and maintaining it and fixing problems and adding new features and stuff like that, keeping the servers up. It takes time and money. A lot of us think that when we have something like an X, like an Instagram, like a YouTube, that it's just magically on, that it just stays on, and things get put on there from other people using it, and then that's it. No, there's like a whole like bunch of people out there that work on that platform daily, weekly, hell, hourly on that platform to keep it up and running so you can use it. That you can keep using it for your own content creation, your own entertainment, whatever it may be. That there's people that are working on that stuff to keep you entertained, and that it takes people to make all these things possible. People who work. You think because you go to the grocery store that they have apples there, that they just magically appear? No, there was a guy who put all the apples out onto the apple place, the apple section, who got a box from, I don't know, the back of their store and put it out there, who lugged it out there. It was heavy, and put them all out there in the morning so you can come by in the late afternoon or evening after work and pick up your apples. And who brought it to the store? Well, someone drove it from like a plant or like a warehouse or packing house, and drove it all the way to the store and unloaded it and had, did that. And then how did they get it to the packing house? Well, there was a farmer or a field worker out there who picked the apples and, picked the ones that were the best ones, and the ones that weren't good, got rid of them. And then what about before that? Well, there was a farmer who actually plowed a field, planted a seed, watered it, waited for it to grow, fertilized the trees and all that, made sure there was no bugs or pests or like animals like, trying to, mess with the crop, and then get those apples to grow, safely, efficiently, on time, so you can get your fresh apples that you want every day or every week. There's a lot of things out there that we just don't understand how they're made, how they get there, and we expect them to be at the ready for us whenever we want, and that we just don't understand that how much work goes into that. A lot of us, including myself, just sometimes forget that everything has a delicate process, and every process has to be followed in order for us to get the thing that we want at that certain time of day, at our leisure, at our pleasure, whenever the hell that we want it, whenever we either want or need it. It's got to be there. Same with like toilet paper. I talked about this before in a couple episodes ago, but like, you know how much work is gonna go into. You thought apples were hard. Imagine like having to manufacture toilet paper. Toilet paper, unlike apples, are not a natural thing that we just find on trees or in like a reserve or in like a mine. We don't mine toilet paper. We have to create that by using wood and other materials to make toilet paper. And it is such a essential and a pleasure for us to have toilet paper that we don't even know. Like, we don't even think about how it was even made or how many people it takes to make toilet paper. And we as a country, we don't just buy one roll of toilet paper, we buy like dozens weekly. And we expect it to be at the ready. And we expect it to be um, plentiful. And that we would have no shortages whatsoever. But let's think about the process. Toilet paper just doesn't appear. It just doesn't appear in the stores. It's manufactured. How does it even get manufactured? Well, it's got to be created. It's got to be, assembled. It's got to be put together in these packages. It's got to be sent to a dock, probably to get shipped overseas, right? And it's got to be unloaded off the dock, all right? In between those steps, what could possibly happen? Well, maybe storms in the sea preventing the ship to get there on time. Potentially mechanical issues. Maybe the ship breaks down. Maybe they get stranded at sea. And then what else? What other problems could happen? Maybe they get to the dock. They don't dock right. Maybe something broke on the door. Maybe, this or that. That also prevents it from getting off the dock on time. Okay, once we get off the dock, we get onto what? Trains. Railroads get backed up, collisions, accidents, derails, stuff could happen, right? Okay, what happens when we finally get it off the train? We put it into these big trucks with these big containers to ship to either warehouses or straight to stores. A bunch of stuff could happen in the middle of those processes, and it takes a lot of people and a lot of work goes into it to make sure that you, the customer, you, the person entitled to wanting vast amounts of toilet paper for your pleasure, for your ability to live your life comfortably, to get to your house. It takes a lot of effort, a lot of people, a lot of work for all that to be, for that to be in your house and for you to use. And I think just a lot of people don't really pay attention or can't see that a lot of this stuff takes a lot of work for you to get. A lot of work. And you know what? You would think that, people would just, assume like, oh, so I get the glass, I bought this mirror at the store, I paid this much for it. Who gets that money? Does it go to the store? Does some go to the store? Does some go to the manufacturers? Does some go to the distributors? Does some go to the truck drivers, to the ship workers, dock workers? Like, where does this money go? It can't just all go to the store, right? That wouldn't make any sense. Who gets paid in this situation? If I buy let's say I buy a Sony PlayStation 5. I buy that $500, right, of a Sony PlayStation 5. Who gets that money? Who gets the 500? Is it all Sony? Is it Sony along with their whoever makes their hardware, whoever makes their software, whoever makes their hard drives, their motherboards, whoever ships the item, whoever assembles it, who actually gets the $500 that I paid to buy this console at the store? Let's say I buy it at Best Buy. Who actually gets that money? I actually don't know. But it's a question to think about when you're buying things. Like, where does all this money go? It can't all go to Sony. There's no way. There's no way. They can't get all of it. They have people that help them out with other things, like I said, chips and motherboards and hardware and software. I mean, it's not all Sony. They have other companies help them out to create their console that they want to sell. And how much does, let's say, Best Buy get? Does Best Buy get any money from buying a PlayStation? Probably not. It could be like movie theaters. Movie theaters, when they sell movie tickets, those ticket sales go to the studios. The movie theater makes none of that money. The money that they make in movie theaters is from the snack bar, like popcorn and hot dogs and all these other foods. That, I think, now that I think about it, I've seen a big uptick in movie theater meals. Like, not just like, the amount that they, people order and people want, but the variety now in these movie theater meals is getting like almost like restaurant variety. The movie theater I go to has like hot dogs and cheeseburgers and chicken tenders and chicken sandwiches and pizza and pretzels, French fries and nachos and desserts and they're getting pretty have a pretty big variety of like entrees and movie theater meals at the movie theater. So like, and I'm seeing more and more people starting to get those, on the regular, regularly just getting those meals instead of popcorn and soda. So, hey, if whatever can drive the sales in movie theaters. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I haven't done any research on if the movie theater meals are a success when it comes to driving up the profit of a movie theater itself. I haven't looked into that, actually. That'd be a good thing to look into. But I would assume, since they're still doing them, that possibly it could be working. They could be seeing growth in their sales because, like I said, they don't get shit from the movie tickets at all. Candy sales too. I know that candy's a big thing in movie theaters in this country, so that actually always helps. That's kind of like why they have like the candy now. I've seen it. They used to have it all, back behind like the glass at the counter at the movie theater. Now in my theater, they have it behind the glass, but also like there's some in the like the checkout lines, like on the sides of the checkout and checkout lines in the movie theater themselves. So that is a big, I think would provide a big increase in sales just to have it out there. That way people can just take it off the hook and buy it. Also, I don't think if you noticed, but like movie theaters also are like not just movie theaters now. Like a lot of them have like little arcades, lounging areas. I think I saw like an article or something a couple months ago about like either like a theater in my town or somewhere close to me, like adding like a laser tag arena or like a bigger arcade into the movie theater to just like, or no, was it a bowling alley? One of the two, to increase like customer like engagement and customer like just like options, like to spend their money in movie theaters, because like I said, they don't get shit from the tickets. They need more things in them to generate a profit. And if adding like a bowling alley or a laser tag arena or even just like a bigger arcade or a lounge area, hell, that could be a great That's a great idea, you know? Because if you think about it, I mean, nowadays, the movie theaters that I go to, they have like, they've, gotten bigger, right? And they've gotten more casual, if that makes sense. Like in the aisles between theaters, now they have like couches and chairs and like they have a bar now. Another big one to drive profit, put in a bar, put in alcohol. Even though it's like not, it probably would not be, um, what's the word? It wouldn't be so, um, it wouldn't provide the right movie etiquette. Like you don't want like a drunk in the movies, you know, chatting the whole time, right? You wouldn't want that. But hey, limit them to a couple drinks. Hell, you'll generate a profit. You'll keep in business. You'll stay in business. But like I said, they're adding more like lounging areas, chairs, couches, like I've said, and not just in one place, but all throughout the theater. So you can just chill out. And maybe if you want to see two movies, and if you're gonna be there for 5 hours, you're gonna get hungry. Maybe you got soda and popcorn the first movie. Now you want a meal, so now you can go get a cheeseburger, a hot dog, some chicken tenders, and actually get like a full course meal along with your film. You know, and if you want a little drinky drink, go to the bar, pick up a drink there, beer, liquor, whatever you want. Oh, hey, what if you take the kids? And after the movie, you can go play laser tag, make it a whole day. It's an intricate business, and I think that if you look back, and you honestly, like, if you have experiences, if you're an older person like me, and you remember how movie theaters were back then, it was literally just like a place to watch movies and get snacks. You buy a movie ticket, you buy some popcorn and soda, you watch the movie, you get in, you get out, and that's it. There were no chairs, there were no couches, there weren't many arcade games. There was no bar, no lounge area. Just get in, watch the movie, and get out. That's how it used to be. And even if you go back and even further when I was, living and watching movies when I was younger, you go back and watch like, a sitcom like Seinfeld or Friends, and you look at how they depict the movie theaters back then, it's even much more get in, get out, and that's it. Like these small little lobbies, big theaters, no promoting of like lounging or lingering. They just like get in, get out, and that's it. Different times back then, right? The prices weren't as, the probably like inflation and all that, how much a studio actually gets for the ticket versus now. It's a lot different then, and honestly, I know that it's, a way to adapt and to make more money. But, it also kind of just makes it, the movie theater a much more fun place, I think. And also, after COVID and after the pandemic, people were, like still kind of nervous to go out. Now I'm not saying now, but like maybe a year after. And that whole COVID thing, it really killed businesses like a lot. Like imagine like an entire year, you didn't make any money. And that's what happened with these movie theaters. They went straight up like an entire year and didn't make a dime out of anything. Like, and that hurt them big time. They had no movies, nothing playing. I know one of my theaters actually got renovated during the pandemic, and for the better. It improved it a lot, so that's good. But yeah, an entire year with no profit, which is pretty much insane, or very, very, very little profit. Didn't even like make any money. Probably had to lay off a lot of like employees and all that. So when they came back, they had to like rethink, reinvent the movie theater. That's why you're seeing now, like I said, more movie theaters becoming like more of like entertainment hubs, like bowling alleys and laser tag arenas, putting in more arcades and lounge areas and bars. That's why they're doing that, because ultimately they lost a lot in 2020 and even like 2021 too. I would say they still lost a lot, and even 2022. We didn't really like get back. I mean, like a lot of people. I mean, we were back after the vaccine came out, but honestly, a lot of people thought that we weren't back until like maybe middle of 2022. That's when like you could probably say people were much more comfortable going into movie theaters and like the numbers were like back to like their original pre-COVID numbers, you know. But it's crazy, you know, when you think about money and how it all works and how it all, you know, is just actually like how, you know, processing it and seeing how it all, you know, contributes to society and how we all live our lives. And we want this, we want that, but we don't want to pay for it. But we don't care where it came from. We don't care who made it. Just want it, and we want it now, you know. Kind of like how you think about, you know, how a cell phone is made, an iPhone. One of the most advanced pieces of technology that we have today that's in your pocket, that has a super sensitive touchscreen, that has GPS, that has fast internet capabilities, that has able to search anything that you want it, solve pretty much any problem, has a built-in calculator, a built-in level, a built-in microphone, camera that's state-of-the-art, and we don't give a damn how it was made. We don't give a damn how it even got here or how it was manufactured. How can a civilization like us, right? We go from making fires and spearheads out of rock, and 10,000, however many thousand years later you want to say, and we make this iPhone out of materials that are on this planet, but make them in a way and manipulate them in a way where they create a phone, a structure, a device like this. And we also not just make one of these bad boys, we make millions, billions, and manufacture them at a pace where you could pretty much buy it whenever part of the year that you want. Maybe a couple weeks delayed, but you can get it whenever you want, essentially. Crazy to think about that. Like I said before, I've said this on a previous podcast. If mankind is doomed, if mankind dies today, and let's say that we are left with like, a meteor hits, or, you know, plague or nuclear fallout. If we are left with like 1 million people on this planet, only 1 million, that's all. I do not think that we will be able to get back to where we were modern day. I don't think that we are able, the people that we have right now, the majority of the people, I don't think that we have what it takes to get back to what we were before we went, quote unquote, extinct or reduced to only 1 million people on this planet. I don't think that we have the innovation that we did back then. There is, and in fact, like, there is no real innovation. Like I've said before. Now we aren't making that many advancements into technologies that we already have. The car is not flying yet. We haven't got a flying car yet. We got a cool rocket stuff from SpaceX and Elon Musk. That's cool. The robot catching the rocket, that was sick. That was badass. Sure, we got one guy doing that, but nothing else. Nothing else has really changed. There's no innovation in smartphones, no innovation in cars, no innovation in game systems. There's really hasn't really been much innovation yet. Why is that? Have we tapped out? Has humanity just tapped out on its knowledge? Have we gotten to the point where we don't know what to do anymore? Like, we have reached our threshold of our knowledge and what we can implement with our knowledge to society and to the materials that we have on this planet, that we have tapped out on our ability to keep on creating. And if we have, why is that? You know, I'm reading right now Dune Messiah, and it's a really good book. And there is a line from it, I'm going to be butchering it, but essentially, if you haven't read it, it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler, a little bit, but, you know, here it goes. So there's like a line in the book that is about the Bene Gesserit, which are, if you've even seen the movie Dune, it's pretty accurate to it, but they are essentially breeders of trying to breed the Messiah, the Kwisatz Haderach, which is, Paul Atreides in the movie. And they spent years and years and years creating a bloodline to create this perfect human, like God-like person, and like they spend like generations trying to, perfect this bloodline to produce a Kwisatz Haderach. And the line isn't about necessarily that. The line in the book is, in order for like human beings to truly excel at knowledge and truly to, like I said, I'm going to be butchering it and paraphrasing, but like essentially the line goes, humans cannot think in terms of knowledge and what they want to create in one lifetime. You have to think of it as many lifetimes of your knowledge and your work going into. Like it made sense when I read it, and I'm kind of paraphrasing, but if you are a scientist, what you can do in terms of knowledge and in terms of research, you can only do in your lifetime, because that is your life. And once you die, your knowledge stops, right? But in this passage in the book, it was saying like, you cannot think that way. You have to think of like, your knowledge is endless, and that you need to keep on going at it as if you're researching and studying for generations in order for you to truly hit the peak of like gaining of knowledge and learning. Like you can't like if I am learning about algebra, I only need to learn so many years of algebra that I need to know in order to graduate high school, right? But in reality, I should always be, learning about algebra to, in case, find mistakes that we have about algebra and implementing and pointing out those mistakes that way that it could be, we can keep on learning about it and informing ourselves about it and being more knowledgeable about it than ever before. And never stop learning about it, essentially, is what like the line was saying. Like to keep on pushing beyond like your lifetime and have a picture of multi lifetimes of knowledge. That's how. And then, you know what? The line made a lot of sense, because a lot of us, when we innovate and when we learn about things, we only kind of view it in the perspective of our own lives. Like, once I die, the knowledge is going to stop, and there's not going to be any more advancements on that. But what we need to do is to picture our knowledge continuing into the future. That way, it could progress. It's kind of like what I think about, like, it all kind of makes sense when it comes to cars, right? The car was perfected like what? 2000s, right? Kind of like perfected, like the way the catalytic converters, the gas, the engine, the pistons, all that. It was kind of perfect. Like it does what it needs to do. It could stop. We don't need to innovate more. And then all of a sudden, someone's like, you know what? Maybe we can make it, hybrid. Maybe we can make it electric. And then it just stops there too. Boom, stops. And then we kind of coast. We're like, hey, this is already doing what it needs to do. We don't need to keep going with this thing. It's done. It's Jover. It's it. And then someone comes along after that saying like, oh, wait, hold on. We could actually improve it better this way than what it was before. And then you're like, oh, yeah. Why didn't we continue with that? Because we got comfortable and we stopped when we thought that it does what it needs to do. And that's all we needed to do. And that's it. We stop. We're done. It's over. I think that instinctively, us as humans, once we get comfortable, we just stop. We're too comfortable. We don't want to keep working. We don't want to keep on, trying and failing. We just want to stop. Take a break, take a nap, whatever, right? That kind of happens with all of us, though. that happens with all of us. And you know what? That part of the book, and when you really think about it, is right. If we didn't stop innovating at all, we would have had a flying car. If we did not stop, you know, trying to reinvent things or truly try to, and if it also, like, if people were buying it and buying a lot of it, why even continue? Why even try to make new things? Just make some more of the old thing that people want, and then we'll have the money to go on our vacations. I know it's like not all it goes on vacations, but you know that you get what I'm saying. Like they just kind of take it easy after that. You know, once the hard work is done, they just take it easy. But yeah, enough about that. I mean, I've been rambling on like for almost an hour about, you know, society, progress, education, the past, the present, ads, you know, whatever. What I really want to talk about today is the Los Angeles Dodgers. They are World Series champions. They defeated the New York Yankees 4-1 last week. Didn't get to talk about it because I had to record earlier than expected last week. I apologize, but now I finally get to talk about it. My team winning the World Series, a legitimate World Series win, not a shortened season win like the COVID one back in 2020, a legit World Series championship. It's rare when my team plays this well in a World Series. I mean, like, the Dodgers in this entire postseason, of course, I had my doubts, you know, before we even started the postseason, that we were going to be the same old Dodgers. Dave Roberts was going to do the same old things, choke, not put the right players in the right positions. Pitching was going to be bad. Hitting was going to be non-existent. And just, you know, crumbling and falling apart. And, you know, when we were playing the Padres, there was times where I was like, well, here we go again. We got Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, you know, all these boys, all these good relieving pitchers, you know, and we still can't do it. But we beat them. We beat the Mets, and we're going to play the Yankees. And I'm like, hey, bro, this is a World Series matchup that the entire baseball fandom wants. This is what I wanted back in 2017 when they got cheated out by the Astros. This is what I want right now. This is a dream World Series. Los Angeles, New York, Yankees, Dodgers. Like, this is the holy grail when it comes to baseball fandom. I wanted this so bad. And with the first couple games, how we were playing, how it translated from the NLDS to the NLCS to the World Series, it didn't change. It didn't falter. And honestly, like, this was like the best performed like World Series I think that we've had in a long time. Like even better than 2020. Like the pitching, the hitting, the discipline in our batters this year was completely different from the last 3 years, where we would swing at anything. We would be stupid when it comes to making pitching decisions. The pitchers just could not, you know, find a rhythm. The hitters couldn't hit. This was a complete opposite of that. And everybody on the team was chipping in, from Freddie Freeman to Kike Hernandez. Everybody was doing their part, getting on base, getting timely hits. Tommy Edman, being the dude that he is, the hitter that he is, a professional hitter, getting on base, driving people in. Shohei Ohtani, you know, doing what he had to do, getting injured, still playing though, which I respect. And Freddie Freeman being the absolute stud that he is. I think he hit like 6 home runs or 5 home runs in the World Series. And just like being the spark and really putting the Yankees down, exploiting the Yankees' lack of fundamentals, and just being the overall better team than the Yankees. I mean, like, this is like the most deservable World Series win that I could think of in the past like 8 years. That the best team in baseball ended up being the World Series champions, and all is right in the baseball world, in my eyes. Not only because I'm a Dodgers fan, but because it just makes sense. It was what everybody thought. It was the truth, clearly, and it came to fruition. I mean, I cannot tell you how happy I was when we were up 3-0 on these Yankees, and how the Yankees had some star power as well, right? Soto, Judge, Stanton. But that was it. The guys after that really didn't do much. We also kind of got a break, at least, that we got playoff Judge, who is not very good and just didn't really do much. Jazz Chisholm for the Yankees, though, stepped it up. He played pretty well. When Judge couldn't really do much, he was a pretty big spark for them. But ultimately, like, it didn't do much. Like, we were able to, weather that, and it was fine. I mean, he's a good player and all that, but it just, like, it wasn't enough for them. And their pitching was good too. Garrett Cole was a stud in that Game 5. I mean, he was really good. But ultimately, like, their defense and fundamentals and their ability to play small ball, was exposed big time, especially in that 5th inning. Judge misses that pop out or that fly out. Volpe, like, missed throws to third on Chisholm. Garrett Cole doesn't cover first. I mean, like, it was just a complete meltdown that they had. And if they probably had those fundamentals, they probably would have won that game, and it would have been a completely different series. But the fact that the Dodgers were able to capitalize that, expose that, and really pound them, and expose their fundamental errors, that we won the World Series. And you know what? If they are unable to do the fundamentals and get the critical outs when they need to, then they don't deserve to win the World Series. Right? If you don't have your fundamentals down, then you don't deserve to win the World Series, because ultimately, when the World Series gets tight like that, that's when the fundamentals come into play. And that's when these little mistakes, these errors, can cost you, because the other team is good enough to capitalize upon those errors, which we were. And man, it felt so good and so right to win the World Series, man. I already bought the hat and the t-shirt that they had after the game. Like, I am just full on Dodgers fan right now. Like, I'm still, like, so proud and just buzzing to be a Dodgers fan right now. Like, it just feels right to me, Like, we have the best team in baseball. And honestly, man, I know it's just like one World Series, but everyone on that Dodgers team is like is going to stay on that team for a while, for a good while. So, like, this could be the beginning of an actual dynasty right here. Like, I expect us to win a couple more World Series with this core that we have. Ohtani, Freeman, Betts. We're going to get Glasnow back next year. Shohei's going to be pitching next year. If we're going to keep, like, our other core players like Muncy, Hernandez, Edman, we got to keep Edman. I mean, that guy was crucial when it came to getting timely hits for us in the postseason. Like, he was just like, when our starters weren't having it, he was keeping us in check and keeping us alive. So we need that guy back, I think, in my opinion. But it was just incredible to be a Dodgers fan this past week, man. And the parade in Los Angeles, man, looked incredible. Like, there were so many people there. I didn't expect it to be that crowded or that full, but it was, and I was just like, dude, the fans showed up. Like, this matters so much to the fans, because we didn't get the parade that we wanted in COVID times in 2020. But this one, the fans showed up, and it looked incredible. It just looked absolutely incredible. So, man, I just am so happy for the Dodgers winning. It was one of the happiest days of my dumbass life when the Dodgers beat the Yankees. And people wanted it to go like 7 games, and it was projected to go 7 games. And maybe baseball would have wanted it to go 7 games. I think that they would. But ultimately, the better team won. I'm just thankful that the better team was my team, you know? Thank God. And that's going to be it for me today, people. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube at Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. New episodes drop every Thursday morning. Make sure to like, subscribe, rate, review, and do all that good stuff. And yes, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I will see you guys next week.